Hello, I'm Michael from Ivanhoe Cycles. I'm going to go through how to replace a Freehub body with you. This one wouldn't drive you very far because it spins both ways. Now, a lady brought this wheel in today. She'd been to two other bike shops. They both said she needs to replace the wheel. There's nothing wrong with the wheel, it's just a Freehub body. So that's what we're going to sort out. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the skewer. Just by undoing the nut, removing the spring, putting it back together so we don't lose any of the parts. The cassette needs to come off, so I'm going to use a chain whip and a cassette tool. So I'm just removing the lock nut, again putting that aside somewhere where we're not going to lose it. Remove the cassette. We're going to place the wheel in a vise or some suitable holding area by the Freehub body side. We'll need to remove the nut and the cone from the top so we can get the bearings out, so we can get to the bolt that holds the Freehub body on. Another couple of tools, 17mm spanner and a 15mm cone spanner. So I'm just going to hold the cone still, which you'll see in a moment, and unlock the locking nut, which will just screw off. Now as you take each part off, the lock nut, then the washer, then the spacer, put them in order on a clean rag. Removing the cone next to expose the bearings. Now as you go through these parts, because we've got it apart, we might as well check the condition of it. This doesn't look to have any water or dirt in it, which is a good start. And the cone itself has a nice clean polished surface, so that can be used again in order of how it was taken out. Now I'm going to use a small magnet. Just by lifting the wheel and touching onto the ball bearings, they'll all come out in one hit. So same with the other side, just going to remove all the bearings. You can do it, with a little piece of stick or a skewer, anything like that. But a magnet's just a quick, easy way to do it. Okay. So once you've got all the bearings out of it, we're going to remove the Freehub body. That's the part that's causing us the drama with the cassette spinning. To remove that, we use a 10mm Allen key and simply undo it. And remove it from the wheel. Now the Freehub body has a bolt inside it with a thread, which you need to put aside. The old Freehub body can go away. The new Freehub body we'll put on in a moment after I clean it. Doesn't look too bad already. Just going to clean around all the surfaces, make sure all the dirt and junk's out of the area there. On the other side, where I'm going to put the bearings back in after I've cleaned them, still a few stragglers there. You can use different cleaning fluids and things to get that all sorted out, but a rag and a bit of a wipe around will get any old grease out of there. Alright, so that's ready to go. To put the new Freehub body on, the bolt we took out of the other one just goes through there. 10mm Allen key again. And we can just screw it back on there. There would be a specific torque setting for that. I'm just going to do it up tight. Alright. Now, the other cone and lock nut is still on the bolt here. I'm just going to give them a clean. Have a look at the surface and see if it's pitted or rusty or anything like that, which it isn't. Going to put some grease inside where the bearings are going to go. Set that aside for a moment. I'm going to take you across to where we're going to clean it all. So here are all the parts still in order. I'm going to put some cleaning fluid in a container and wash each one of them separately so they go back in the same order. I've got all the parts there ready to go back in. I've put some grease on the lower cone that's still in the vise. I've put grease inside the Freehub body because that's the side we're going to put on first. It's a Shimano rear wheel, so there's 9 bearings each side. I'm just going to slot them into the Freehub body itself, into the bearing surface, into the grease I've already put in there. So I've got all the bearings in there. Just going to place that back on top of the lower cone. Fill the other side with grease so that the bearings have got a bed of grease to sit in. Now with the axle protruding, you won't be able to get the bearings past, so I'm just going to lift it back up again and slot the bearings past the top of the axle there. So I've got all the bearings back in there. Just gently lower that down so it sits on the lower cone. I'm going to place all the parts back in the same order. I keep saying it because it's actually quite important. Alright, we've got plenty of grease in there. The cone goes back on first with the rounded surface facing down. So when the cone's almost down to the bottom, just bring it up till it touches the bearings, that is. Put your spacer on, put your washer back on, whichever order you took them off in. Put the lock nut on. Now at this point we've got to adjust the bearings so that they're not too tight or too loose. Too loose, the wheel will wobble. Too tight, the wheel will be stoppy or jumpy as you turn it. So with the cone spanner and your 17mm spanner, or whichever one fits your particular wheel, just lock them together. I'm bringing the lock nut down but also turning the cone spanner backwards as well, so as not to put too much pressure on the bearings. Now that's still spinning freely, but it has a little bit of sideways movement, so I'm going to tighten it up a little bit more. Loosening the lock nut, bring the cone in a little bit further, lock the lock nut up again. Now again, it spins freely. One of the ways to tell is when it's slowing down, does it slow down and just stop, or does it rock backwards? If it rocks backwards, it's often a little bit too tight. Okay. That feels pretty good. Alright, next thing to do is put the put the cassette back on the Freehub body. On a Shimano Freehub body, there's a small groove which is easy to line up with the cassette. Again, make sure you put these parts back on in the order you took them off in. And the lock nut, cassette tool, Again, it's something like 45 Newton meters or something, but do it up tight. Your skewer goes back in. Spring back on the other side. Nut back on. A Freehub body that works. Now that just cost the lady $65 instead of about $120. Thanks for watching, and come in and see us at Ivanhoe Cycles.